All right. What's up, everybody? My name's Avery, and this is Wesley. We wanted to kind of make a video to talk about the hard stuff. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, talking about like trouble within a band and like professionalism. And, I brought it up that I've been so lucky to have some teachers that were like pretty hard on me coming up in my musical career. And I know Wesley has too, because Wesley's taught me a lot just by playing around him. And he says a lot without saying anything. And it's some hard lessons
Yeah.
that you kind of pick up that you're not really going to get from like your friends. I think Wesley probably has some stories from playing at the Pizza Hut or Pizza Plus.
Oh man, I've got stories from playing from a gas station, like in the back room. Like there's just there's many stories of a young Wesley just having a loud guitar and just trying to drown everybody out. And
Hmm.
I mean, you can make a lot of people mad, which I mean you've got to learn, and somebody has to be the bad guy, and sit there and tell you,
Yeah.
hey, like, stop doing this. Like, no, like smacking your hand, like, hey, you need to kind of like back up a little bit, and
Hmm.
that's just the tough reality, It's just that's the truth. The truth
Yeah,
hurts, like what they say.
definitely.
So
And definitely like your friends don't want to tell you this stuff.
no.
That's why Wesley and I are here to tell it to you tonight. So I guess one of the first things we want to talk about was you want to go over the tuning stuff and how important it is first. That's kind of an easy like step one. At least we're gonna talk about like 5 points. And I think Wesley
Yeah.
would agree if you can apply these like tomorrow, you will be a better musician. Like you'll be a more professional, better musician. Like that. No money
100%.
spent, just like habits that you're fixing. The tuning
Yeah.
stuff, man, if you're out of tune, it's no good. I think we were talking a
No.
little bit about using a capo. You want to talk about that, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, you use a capo. I mean, sometimes your intonation it just goes out. I mean, your
Hmm.
guitar might not be set up right, mandolin, banjo, whatever. A lot of people like me, like I have an ear for music, so I can hear stuff. A lot of people just can read notes. I mean, that's great, whatever. But sometimes an instrument goes out of tune, and even if you're capoed, you can't capo a mandolin, obviously. I mean, you can, but that's very
That's another
forbidden,
way to get kicked
and
out of a band. Yeah, yeah.
that is definitely a way to get kicked out of a band. But I mean, if you're playing, you know, whatever you capo first, second, third, fourth fret, it's usually the B string all the time.
Hmm.
I mean, if your guitar's even if it's set up perfect, I mean, if the tuner says that you're right on, sometimes I have to tune up or tune down the B string, and
Hmm.
I mean, people can hear that. Maybe not. I mean, if you're not a musician. If you're not musically inclined, you're not going to hear that. Maybe your
Yeah.
mom or your dad or your grandma's like, man, that's great. It sounds awesome. But somebody
Yeah.
somebody that's been around it is gonna definitely know.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that comes with time. The second you pick up your instrument before you play a song, you need to run through the strings, and check if everything's in. Because the time to
Yeah,
tune is not when the song's going. You gotta check that out before the song gets started. Definitely after you put a capo on, check it again because it's going to change the intonation. There's some really great guitars out there, but I mean, depending on how much you cinch that thing down, it'll pull it out of tune, and you need to put the capo on and then recheck and then play it and listen to see if it is in tune. And you're right, that B string, it's the first one I check every time. If I'm checking
every
something
time.
out, it's the B string. And sometimes the tuner will even say it's in tune. Put your finger on the fret and it's out. You play your chord and you can usually playing through a chord.
Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of how I check it. Is that what you do too?
yeah, yeah. Usually, yeah. I usually just strum a G chord and then I can hear it. I mean, it
Hmm.
fits out just the slightest, but
Exactly.
on the
Yeah.
tune on the tuner it says it's a little sharp or a little flat, but
Yeah. It might come across right. And the banjo's
yeah.
the worst too. I mean, I know Wes has played a lot of banjo in his days, so have I. It's a miserable instrument to keep in tune, and I feel like the biggest thing to keep it in tune is just lighten up that right hand. If you're throwing your picks through the strings constantly, you're going to pull it out, and the banjo will
Yeah.
resonate without a lot of effort on your part. You don't have to play
Yeah.
so hard, especially if you're using a microphone. It's just like hey, turn it up. I'm going to play a little softer so I don't have to tune every, you know.
Man, that's the thing is like, I'll give an example of like Sierra Hull. I would say probably like in about 20, might have been like 2013, 2012 when IBMA was still in Nashville. Um, I got in a jam session and Sierra Hull was there and she was very nice, very, very nice. But she plays so light, like she doesn't
Hmm.
destroy her mandolin. And I think that's like when you're in a jam session, like I was playing with Dave Atkins at the time, so I kind of knew, you know, of like the dynamics part just a little bit, but I was still learning,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, she's playing very, very light to be in a jam session in a hallway. And that's when you should know, like, hey, you should back off because if you're playing and you're strumming and you can't hear the person beside of you or across in front of you, you're probably playing a little too loud, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. I think it's always best, a good rule of thumb is just to start quiet and then try to match the dynamic of whatever the group's playing. You know, you get around
Yeah.
some cats that are playing pretty hard and heavy, join in and, match it. But like most of the time, I have a very similar story with Sierra Hull and her husband at a workshop they did in Bristol at the Paramount Theater. Went there and man, I was so ready to hear them play. And, they were teaching this big group of probably about 50 people. And dude, her and Justin started playing. I couldn't hear a note they were playing. I mean, everybody had to get completely quiet and you could hear it. And I was like, ah, man, that makes a lot of sense. Like they're just playing
Yeah.
perfect and they don't have to play hard because you need to listen. It was humbling.
Yeah.
That's so funny. They have this exact same story with her.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, even being at ETSU, that's one thing that they teach is your dynamics, like when to
Hmm.
come in, like usually everybody, like if you're around a certain amount of people for amount of time, like y'all just connect. I mean, it's like having, your forever partner. Like you just know. Like I could
Hmm.
meet up with the guys that we played with and we could go right back to square one, just like it was yesterday playing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is just being able to know like when to back off, like when to play loud, when to, know your part, know your role. That's one
Yeah.
thing that a lot of people need to know.
Yeah, I think it's a much better compliment for somebody in your band to say, hey Wes, like, why don't you play rhythm a little bit louder? Like, we want more support on this, as opposed to them
Oh,
talking about at dinner that next night, man, dude, Wesley's playing way too loud. I can't hear anything. So I think if you shoot low and either like
yeah,
use your own musical maturity to kind of come up to their dynamic level or just stay
yeah,
low until somebody says, hey man, we'd actually like to hear more of you. And that's super true like in the electric world too. Now that I'm in Texas playing a ton of electric guitar, and dude, you can drown stuff so quick. Like you think D18's like loud in the jam, dude, wait till you've got a
yeah,
volume knob on that thing and a foot pedal
dude,
and you can just do
yeah,
what you want. So
yeah,
that
it's
kind of brings us to our
awesome.
next thing, knowing your role. Another thing we talked about. I guess I'll kind of leave this, but like, man, if you're playing rhythm, play rhythm. Same thing, like
Yeah.
if you're laying down a bed of rhythm for somebody else that's playing a break. I think I heard Ron Block say this, but you say complement something complex with something simple. Like if you're
Oh,
eating on a break, dude, like if I'm playing banjo, you're getting nothing but like clean 16th notes for me. Like I'm getting out of the way the whole time, you know,
yeah.
or maybe even less than that.
Think the best example on that is Tony Rice and Wyatt Rice together. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you can you can watch the videos, and I know they're brothers. I While I was at ETSU, I took a little lessons from Wyatt himself, but you can watch again the dynamics, and then knowing your role of like I'm playing rhythm, but I can also play lead. So this one
Mm,
person's playing lead, like if Tony was taking a break
yep.
back here, and he's fulfilling, stuff that he needs to fulfill, almost like a mandolin. Like
Yeah.
you're playing mandolin, and you're chopping, but then you're doing fill notes.
Yeah.
Like a fiddle, whatever, or a
Mm,
banjo. Like you need to know your role, when to come in, when to punch it, when to be loud, like when to be quiet, when to be soft. It's just
yeah.
I don't know. It is a that again. It comes with practice. It comes with being
Yeah.
around the people, and getting told like, hey, like the hard truth. It's the hard stuff,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah. So it's like, it's great points. But it's like, how do I do this? Right? How do I do this? Like, you guys are saying this crap,
yeah.
but how do I do it? I think, speaking of humility, going to Matt Bright's jam, dude, leave the ego at the door because you're going to get humbled down there. Matt Kruby on the banjo, you know, Matt Bright on the guitar. Like, I would go down there with like basically no intentions of playing, just learning. You know, you just
Yeah.
go down there and I'm just like, I want to hear these guys because like I'm going to figure out what
Oh,
they're doing and try to use it for myself.
yeah.
And we're saying, check your dynamics and stuff, like just change something, change anything. If you're in a jam, try something different. If it fits better, if you feel like the product you guys are making together is better than what you were doing before, stick with it. You know.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else do we have to talk about? Pecking at practice. We've been talking about that. I think this is definitely frustrating. I know Wesley's played in some worship bands, and I have done a lot in the past few years too, as we've been traveling states. And man, you get to like a practice, and no hate on the drummers because I spend a lot of time drumming too, but like they sit down behind a drum set and they just want to wail on it. And it's like a musical maturity thing. So like I can know a lot about your musicianship in about 5 minutes of being at that practice. Just like,
Yeah.
or same thing. I mean, electric guitar guys are bad about it too. They want to check their delays, check their reverbs for like 10 minutes. It's like, man, it worked. I
Yeah.
know you practiced at home. It worked then. It's going to work here. So
Yeah.
like just showing up and not playing your instrument until like it's time to. I know you guys did a lot of practices at ETSU. Was it kind of like that there?
Yeah. I mean, like that comes back to another thing of like knowing your role and dynamics, stuff like that. It kind of like all works itself in. Like, there's been times that like, Dan, he's looked at me and it's like, hey, like, you need to back off, or like,
Yeah.
you need to like here, you need to come in and, like again, like leave your ego at the door. Like there's been times that like I've thought I was on top of the mountain, and then,
Hmm.
you get in and then you're just like, they're like, you're not doing the right G run. And you're like, what do you mean I'm not doing the right G run? And they're like, no, like, you need to do it like as in like the old time G run, And I'm
Hmm.
like, what do you mean? And then it finally clicks after they show you, and you're like, oh, like I get that. Like we all know a G run, but you can
Hmm.
do all kinds of different G runs. And that's just one of the runs that you can do. But, if there's a song that needs something traditional, like they're gonna call it out. And that's where you need to call it out at, is like right there in front of you to your face, like, hey, and it humbles you. Like, I mean, you're just
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Like I need to step back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I need to get taught, don't think don't think 100% of what you're doing, because
Hmm.
you're going to get humbled very, very quick.
Yeah. I was talking to Morgan's brother, Matthew Rogers, that you and I were going to do this. And I was like, man, anything else you think we should add? And he texted me back and he's like, you're not as good as you think you are.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, it just kind of took me back to like every time I learned that lesson the hard way. The first time was at Matt Bright's. I was down
Yeah.
there and it was so funny. I've been looking on the marketplace at like these like $7,000, $8,000 guitars. I was like, oh man, I need to, maybe I need to invest in a better guitar, make me a better player. And I think
Yeah.
Matt brought out a really inexpensive like Blue Ridge and was just wailing on it, and it was so good. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't need to buy a new instrument. I need to go
Yeah.
home and practice. Another
That and
time
that
I got, oh, good.
no, that I mean, like I was going to say, that all again comes back to like, like Wyatt Wrights, he plays an ovation, and he gets
Yeah.
the same tone out of that ovation as he does like
Hmm.
almost like, just your top of the line guitars. And it's,
Yeah.
again, that's practice. It's all about your dynamics, your practice, like how to hold a pick, how to get tone out of something. Like you can get tone out of nothing if you know what you're doing, and
Literally.
that's,
Have you seen that video of that guy at Walmart playing that? It's a Cars guitar, and he's playing Pride and Joy from Stevie Ray. And
yeah,
dude, it's so good. It's so good. And the guitar sounds good. His note separation's perfect. You can hear everything he's playing. And that was humbling too. Another time, Daniel Norton, I know you've been around him a bunch. Dude,
incredible
incredible
player,
musician.
man.
Dude, on
Incredible.
everything. On everything. I was starting to play a bunch more, had reached out to Daniel and he invited me over to his house a few times and we were playing there. And it was just me and him, like really late at night. And I was starting to think I was a big dog, and I was wanting to be around the big dogs, and
Yeah,
I got there, and like just listening to Daniel play like in person was kind of like, oh my God,
dude.
I actually don't know what I'm doing. And I had my banjo with there with him, and we'd been playing for a little while. I was like, hey, like, because he'd been playing guitar, and I was like, you don't play my banjo? And he just looked at me and he's like, no, I'm okay. And I knew in that moment he said no because he didn't want to hurt my feelings because
Yeah,
what he was going to play would have made me feel small. And he was
yeah.
mature enough and like kind enough to be like, hey, actually, I'm just going to play guitar. You got the banjo thing. But in
It's like
hindsight,
it's crazy because like every I remember like whenever I was younger and we were both younger, we would go to I think it's like Bellamy Town or something like that, next to Greenville, and there would be these jam
mhm,
sessions, and like I remember like picking with him there, and there was a lot of just like we were both learning, and there's a lot of stuff that we both could have done different, and then it's like now. He's playing with Darren Brooke Aldridge, and he's
mhm,
played the Opry with Rhonda. And there was a time last year, a couple of years ago, that me and my wife went to go see John Mayer in Nashville. And while we were there, I was like, "Let's go to the Opry." And it so happens Daniel Norton's playing dobro with Rhonda Vincent, and I snap a picture of him and like, dude, like this is crazy. Like, that's awesome.
yeah,
And then we're jamming at Spigma, and we're just having a fun time. And I mean, it's crazy to see like the people that you grew up with or that even like went through school with and, college years, and they're out just busting it, man. They're doing an
yeah,
amazing job, and it's
yeah.
crazy.
Something I tell people a lot. I don't know. The passion for music comes up. Like you and I both have like separate careers outside of music, and you're meeting new people at your job. And, oh, what do you do? Well, I play music. I'm not here. I'm practicing or performing, and
Yeah.
uh, they're like, "Oh man, good luck. I hope you make it." It's just like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Like, I've already made it. Like, I play as much as I want to. I do what I want to. Like, that's it. That's all I wanted. And I try to tell people like, there's no magic with music. People think that like you fall down the right talent tree and hit a few right branches and you can make it. It's stuff but work, man. If you want it, like you just got to work at
Dude,
it, stay on the road, and it's just like any other job.
that
You're just working like a third shift.
that's the thing. It's like, when I was, on the road with Dave, I made decent money being in high school. And, then, I started playing with Becky Webb. We made pretty good money. But there again, it's like, hey, like I need a 401k, like I need insurance, like I need this, and that's taken from that money. And you after you graduate college, or if you don't, like for me, I didn't graduate. I kind of left after COVID because COVID was like literally
Yeah,
the stopping point for me. I think
yeah, it
that hurt
changed
a lot of
everything.
people. I mean, it changed a
Yeah,
lot, and that's whenever I started working at a chemical company here in Kingsport, Tennessee, called Eastman, and that took a lot of time. Like that's night shift, day shift, and you're working a swing shift schedule. Avery's dad works there too, and he works a swing shift
mhm,
schedule. So Avery knows, and it's hard. Like it's hard.
yeah,
Like you might work 14 days out of the month without overtime, but whenever
yeah,
you're doing that, you've got a life outside, so you can't just like be on the road all the time, which I would love to. I would love to drop everything now and just go back to
yeah,
doing what I was doing, but it's hard. I mean, it
yeah,
really is. It's hard.
yeah. And it's definitely it's a choice to be made, and there's like sacrifices with it. But I feel
Yeah.
like too, I mean, like you're making sacrifices working with Eastman right now. Like you're not as available
Yeah.
for some scheduling things. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a big sacrifice, and I
Yeah.
think if you've got the diligence and the time to like map it out, it comes out like kind of like any other job. You're just gone. You're gone more, and it's like kind of you want to be at home with your
Yeah.
family. Wesley and I got married a week apart, which is great.
Yeah.
And so like we've kind of been learning how to be husbands like at the same time. And it's just like
Yeah.
you're
Be
probably the same
husbands,
way.
be
Like I get invited to,
musicians, be at work. I mean, it's kind of,
yeah, yeah.
it's crazy.
And you've kind of, like I said, like you've got to define what your own level of success is. I'd be willing to bet you would say that you're also successful with music, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, I've got to do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, like, I got to play the Opry and, at an age that with Becky Webb, their Webb sister, and, I've gotten to play Station Inn, just big stuff like for bluegrass people. But
Heck
then
yeah.
it's like you just drop off the face of the earth. Like after you stop playing, it's like to
Mm,
me, it just feels like people forget who you were and forget who you are. Like it's like, yeah,
yeah.
I can play. Like let me play or like call me like if you need something. But it's like you call and it's like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm working, or I'm working
Gotta
night
work.
shift, so I can't be there, or I'm working day shift, so the next day like I can't do this, or it's just
Yeah.
the schedules don't collide. It's just the timing is
Yeah.
terrible, but it is what it is at that
Yeah.
point. You just kind of got to figure out your role.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. This has been fun. I want to look at all our points. I guess just to recap, like to increase your professionalism as a musician will make you more desirable for hire. Right.
I think you need to be humble. Like you
Yeah.
need to. I mean, I know there's a lot of cocky people, and I used to be very cocky, and sometimes I mean I
Hmm.
still am. Like I know that like I'm not I'm not a terrible musician. I'm decent at what I do, but at the same time I know there's probably like a 9 or 10 year old kid that could probably outplay me like
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like there's one thing that my guitar teacher, GC Matlock, he was my cousin and a great man, great musician, great guitar player. And he always told me, like when I first started, he said, "There's always going to be somebody better than you are," and
Hmm.
that stuck with me because I mean, it's true. Like you think you get to the point where you're cocky and you think you're the best, and then you get in a jam session, and then you just get blown out of the water, and you're like, "Man, I
Whoops.
know my place." Like it's like, dang, dude, like you gotta. And that comes with being humble, like you've got to be
Hmm.
humble. Like, sometimes I tell people I'm not the best, and I'm not. I don't think that I am the best. I don't think that, but I know that I'm decent and I know that I'm good, like that.
Yeah.
I think that just comes with time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely like not to put yourself down, but like kind of know where you're at and like humbly approach
Yeah.
something new. Like if you get a call, like, hey, come audition for this. Since we moved to Texas, I've been meeting all kinds of new people and got a lot of really great calls for auditions. And learning how to do that is a whole different thing too. Talking about being the best,
Yeah.
I heard somebody on Facebook the other day talking about a very similar like topic, and he said this may hurt, but like Guthrie Trapp isn't the best guitar player in Nashville. And they're like, let that sit in there for a minute. And you're just like, oh my God, maybe not. Like, who's better than Guthrie? Like Andy Wood? Like, these guys are animals. And, like, will I ever
Yeah.
be at Guthrie Trapp's level? No. So it's just like, pump the brakes, calm down, and just like enjoy and play and kind of do your thing. I was just recapping. So, like, not pecking at practice, like, keep your instrument quiet while people are talking, tune constantly. You're probably out of tune. Just live your life like you're out of tune. And then with your dynamics, start as soft as you can on your instrument, especially if you're playing with new people or you're like starting to build up your own band and group. Play quiet and one, acknowledges or you feel like, okay, we're growing here, like effect with a chorus or something. Quiet is better than loud in most situations. If you had to bet on one, lean towards the quiet side. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the biggest thing, the biggest like hard piece of advice is just like you said earlier, leave your ego at the door, but like be willing to take feedback without it hurting your feelings. I know for a fact when you and I
Yeah.
first started playing together, I could see it on your face when I would do stuff. And I was just like, I don't need to do that. And I'm better for it. You didn't have to say it, but I could see it and I could like hear it in your playing. It's just like, oh, maybe I don't need to, strum this thing like it owes me money. So little things like that, and just
Yeah.
like being willing to take the feedback and apply it as opposed to just not learning from your peers.
Yeah, yeah. I'll add this with leave the ego at the door. Like if you're gonna leave the ego at the door, we have a saying at work, leave your feelings at the door. Like if you're gonna leave the ego at the door,
Even
leave your
better.
feelings at the door. Because I mean,
Yeah.
somebody can come up to you, and I would rather somebody be honest to me than lie to me to my face about like, hey, like that's great. Like, hey, like you might be beating the heck out of your guitar right now, and you know, Larry Sparks is inside of you, but you're playing on medium gauge
Hmm.
strings instead of heavy, and you're in the middle of a
Yeah.
jam session. And you're like, no, like I want somebody to tell me, hey, like you need to back off a little bit. Like, and
Hmm.
that didn't click with me until I got older. You know, like when I was
Oh
younger, I
yeah.
was like, man, these old guys are buttheads, man. You know, like
Yeah.
they're rude. Like, you know, they're
Hmm.
savage. I mean, they're just being mean. But then you get older and you realize, and you're like, no,
That was
like
just
these
advice.
younger the younger generation and you know people learning like they need to be taught that like that's just part of
Yeah.
in teaching. And I learned that like to my face the hard way, and I'm thankful for those guys, man. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
those guys,
And you're lucky
I
you
look
had
up to
them. I
them now,
mean,
you know.
not everybody has those people. You and I are
Yeah,
trying to be those people, but
yeah,
yeah, I think, yeah, I had a teacher one time who was probably the hardest on me ever in high school. And he'd always say, like, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at what you did. And you can take it how
yeah.
you want to. Like if I say, hey, Wesley, man, you're playing too loud. It's like, I'm not attacking you. Just you're playing too loud on that song. It doesn't mean anything, you know?
But then you're like,
So,
you don't know nothing. I'm playing right. Like I'm there again. Like
yeah,
leave your ego at the
exactly.
door. Like I'm doing the best I can. Like I'm the greatest. Like you know.
Yeah.
It's like
Like, how dare you
you
tell
learn
me?
Dan Taminsky, but then you like you times it by 400, you know? And
Mm,
it's like just
yeah.
calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it sounds like we're ranting on rhythm guitar players too, playing too loud.
I think so. So don't attack us at all. So
Yeah, don't come at us. Well, we may do this again. This is about 30 minutes, so hopefully somebody can listen to this at the gym, and we'll post it on Facebook and YouTube. And if there's another topic you want to hear us talk about, be glad to chat about it. Maybe we'll do this again. But like I said, I'm Avery Peters, and this is Wesley Wayne Wolf,
yeah, triple W.
the
That's what
man.
I was born with. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Well,
talk
we'll do
about
it again
anything. So
sometimes. Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks, man. It's been fun.
No, thank you. Yeah.